How's everyone doing? I hope you're doing alright. I'm Morton's Castle, and I wanted to make a video on multiple video games, really. And the topic is a pretty debatable one, so I definitely want to hear your opinion or input in the comments once I'm done. The overall focus for this video is the discussion of video game remasters, or remakes, even re-releases and ports, basically. The definitions for all of these things can be very different, and they kind of drastically differ from case to case and game to game. So we'll have to discuss that in a second. But first, I wanted to thank everyone for the support and the criticism on the Mother 3 video that my brother and I made. This channel is pretty small, but we got over 90 subscribers from that theory, and I've talked with a lot of people in the community about the game, and it's been a great experience. We never thought to get a few hundred views, because normally, before, this was a really small channel, so we didn't even think to get that many views, let alone a few thousand. And we just made it for fun, as we like to talk and speculate about video games that we enjoy, and I think a lot of people like to do that. But a lot of people liked it, but there was a lot of fair criticism as well, as the theory was definitely a stretch to jump to the conclusion of a Mother 3 remake / remaster. It could still happen, but we don't really believe that it's going to happen after more thought into it. But localization could happen. However, I wanted to talk more about the topic of remasters in general, not just for old Nintendo games, but for game in the gaming genre overall, basically. So, in light of the anticipated Pokemon Gen 4 remakes, I want to add contributions to that discussion, as well as offer insight to why developers re-release games such as Dark Souls Remastered or Halo 2 Anniversary, and discuss what makes a remaster quote-unquote good. Good is an opinionated word, so that will definitely vary from person to person, but I hope you enjoy hearing my thoughts and will stick around for future videos. Another one quick update on Mother 3 before we get into the main topic of today's video. Before recently, I personally was not a fan of the game. I had never played it for the obvious reason of it not being localized. My brother, on the other hand, who played the main part in creating that theory, was a huge fan of the game. He owned the fan translation Game Boy cartridge and had played it multiple times. So we made that theory together in the midst of Smash hype. And after it got I basically blew up, got thousands and thousands of views, and we never expected that. I was like, I have to play this game. And I'm more than halfway through it, and I'm telling you, I am loving it. I cannot wait to do a full review of the game for all of the new subscribers here because of that. But also, there's just so much to say about the game. It's emotional, it's deep, it's funny. It's such a good story. So I can't wait I'm going to do a review / impressions from a new fan, and that'll be soon once I finish the game, which I'll do probably after making this video. And then I'll bring in my brother for more videos as well, because a lot of you guys liked him as well. That all said, I'll get into today's topic, which is remasters and remakes in general. So remasters, remakes, re-releases, things of that nature can definitely be seen as a controversial topic in video games. Sometimes developers will put out the exact same video game with minimal changes, call it remastered or improved, and charge full price for it. One of the more memed examples I can think of is Skyrim Special Edition, and from recent memory, Dark Souls Remastered. As an owner of both of these games and their original copies, I'm up for criticism as a consumer, but I think it's a good starting point for looking at why companies would re-release games, why people buy them, looking for finding a definition for what makes a remaster, as well as trying to get a label of what makes one good. It's no doubt that companies re-release games for money. At the end of the day, they are trying to make a profit, and if they can get away with selling the game again, they will. However, a motive that I definitely want to look at is the intention of bringing in new fans. When Dark Souls Remastered was coming up this summer, there was a lot of hate and controversy towards it from old fans of the series, as hardly anything was changed. There was new multiplayer functionality and slight graphical enhancements, but for a lot of players, especially PC players who already had those things, it was nothing new. There was a lot of dislike. But I did see from a fair number of people on the internet that they were interested in the game because they had never played the original. Now they could pick up the game and its DLC attached basically for free. So effectively, new fans were drawn in. People who had never played Dark Souls when it originally came out now had an opportunity to play it and the DLC for a fair price, relatively so. I'm a fan of the Dark Souls series, and had played the original and I bought the remaster. I had a lot of fun with its revived multiplayer for a while, but my interest died soon after, and from what I can tell, a lot of old fans dropped off as well, and the game is pretty much dead now. My opinion on all of this was that the game was a bad quote-unquote remaster, and was more of a re-release for new fans. As stated, not that much was changed, and while there are changes, an old fan wouldn't notice that much, I don't think, and a new fan wouldn't be getting anything new. A remake slash remaster slash re-release of the Dark Souls and Skyrim Special Edition magnitude are not what I think make old fans happy. This is like for general video games. Like if something of this scale was to happen for any game, I don't think old fans would be happy. I think something new has to happen. These types of like remaster slash re-releases, they probably bring in new fans and make money, but eventually go down in memes or in fire as unnecessary from original fans of the series. And I want to like explore why that is. Interestingly, I think this can be translated to the Nintendo games we know and love. If you take a look around this channel, you'll find that I'm a big Donkey Kong Country fan. I was pumping for K. Rool for Smash, I was campaigning for Dixie Kong among other things. My first video game was Donkey Kong Country 2, but not for the SNES as one might think. It was for the Game Boy Advance. By definition, my first and favorite game was a port or re-release. Some might laugh or criticize it, but I think it's important and foundational at the same time. As a child, I loved it and didn't know or care about the quote-unquote flaws of the DKC2 GBA remake slash port. Again, the wording between re-release, remaster, port, remake is very blurry and differs drastically from case to case, so you have to think about that when I talk about each of these examples. It is kind of confusing. Most people dislike the GBA versions of the DKC games because of the GBA stereo quality ruining the soundtrack of the game, and the portable screen's brightness affecting the quality of the SNES levels. As a lifelong fan of the series who has since got a SNES and the original games for it, I find these criticisms from original fans to be entirely valid. However, they never affected my enjoyment of the games as a new and eager fan of the series when I was a kid, and I think they have their own unique merits to them. While in the end, I do find, enjoy, and admit that the SNES versions are superior because of the better soundtrack quality and lighting, it's only an opinion. The point here is that a port or re-release is what made me a fan of the series, not the original games, as I didn't get to experience them when they originally came out. I bet this is the case for Dark Souls Remastered and Skyrim Special Edition players. I'm not going to be ignorant and say that the games are completely and utterly trash. I bought them and played them as an original fan, and I enjoyed them just as I did the original games, but I fell off because they weren't new or quote-unquote remastered enough for me as an original fan, basically. However, a new fan of the series who only got the enhanced version would probably get sucked in and obsessed, just like how I and many people did when they first played these fantasy games. For that reason, some re-releases and remakes are necessary from developer standpoints. How necessary are they from that of fans, though? The Nintendo Switch is criticized a lot for having a lot of ports. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is coming next month, Tropical Freeze came this year, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best-selling game on the console, if I'm not mistaken. While port hysteria is understandable, and I definitely see your point if you're against them, I'm glad partially as the ports aren't simple ports. They at least have new things like Funky Mode, which drastically changed the speedrunning meta for Tropical Freeze. As a DK fan, I'm glad more people can experience the game I love. It's a wonderful game, and playing on the TV is fun, and playing it in portable mode reminds me of my origin with the series on the GBA. I'm not as keen on the new Super U port, but understand why it's happening as Nintendo is going to cash out on it and probably make new fans of the series. With that all said, companies can make money and introduce new fans to the series with remakes, re-releases, ports, etc. But what makes it good is what makes it a remaster. The best remasters I can think of are Halo. I'm probably biased as I love Halo a lot, and I believe that they started the trend, but the argument is open for the best remaster, as in the past few years, and this year specifically I believe, a lot of remasters and collections have been coming out. Spyro got the Reignited trilogy, Crash got the Insane trilogy. These remasters are games I don't know a lot about, but I'm definitely going to highlight them as I think that they are the good, and I say good and bold, remasters, remakes, re-releases in my opinion. From where I stand, they're doing the right things when it comes to this category of game. Not only are they re-releasing importing content for new fans and to make money, they go the extra mile not just to enhance the graphics, but to overhaul them or change them entirely. As a fan of Halo, I was super stoked for the Halo CE anniversary announcement, and even more so for the Halo 2 one. Not only were the graphics completely new and fancy, but you could change between them. A big criticism of remasters are that the new experience and graphics ruins the original experience for original fans. New graphics may alter the experience and taint what one already knows. This was a big part of the feedback on what we got for our speculation of a Mother 3 remaster or remake. My brother and I discussed it after looking at a lot of the comments, and we totally understand it. One of the biggest charm of Mother 3 are the sprites and the fact that most of the deep and emotional or comical moments of the plot are told through these GBA era sprites. Seeing the same moment in 3D would not be the same no matter how you look at it. It could potentially ruin it, but it could also potentially make it better. You just don't know. It's something to definitely talk about. A lot of people say a remaster isn't necessary, or in fact, that it would be more negative, that it would definitely ruin it. I'm opening up this discussion as I find it interesting. I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I agree that Mother 3 is pretty much perfect as is. I'm dying to finish it and write a video about all the great moments in it. And a remaster for it may very well be impossible. My brother and I don't see it happening that much anymore, and neither did a lot of our viewers. However, a lot of people also expressed desire for it, and we kind of want it too. It'd be interesting to see the game in HD if done correctly. And we came up with the idea in the first place. Something about a remaster is appealing to someone, always, I think, not just when it comes to Mother 3, but to a lot of games. I'm going to jump genre and console for a second, but for example, a lot of people want The Elder Scrolls Oblivion to be remastered. However, Bethesda just isn't doing it, and a team of fans are recreating Oblivion in Skyrim's engine. It's called Skyblivion and looks pretty good. Sometimes fans do more for a game series than the corporation that owns it. That can definitely be said with Mother 3 and the sole ability for many of us in the West to play it through the fan translation. So as a new fan, I appreciate the fans that came before. Going back to Halo, I think Halo's remaster was pretty much a perfect example of what a remaster is and can be. For me, it's a textbook pretty much. It kept the game's original look, feel, and sound, and you could play it that way if you wanted to, or you could play in new graphics and experience the game in a new, remastered sense. And you could do this if you were an original fan or a new fan. And the best part about it was that you could switch between the two. Did I already say that? I don't remember. Anyway, Halo 1 and 2 pulled this off excellently. My only complaint is that I couldn't play Halo 1 multiplayer remastered. However, the Halo Reach map pack was pretty sexy. But yeah, I think this method is an excellent compromise between old and new fans. The old look is there, but so is the new look, and no one really feels cheated out of an experience. And to be honest, both the old and the new can be enjoyable. Both the old and new have pros and cons, and I think a lot of games could take this into consideration when making remasters or remakes. Oblivion is a game I would love to see remastered in this way, but Bethesda won't do it really. And a lot of companies won't do this when it comes to the games that people request remasters for. Looking at all this, Donkey Kong Country 2, my favorite game or one of them, Mother 3 is definitely taking my heart with its story. Donkey Kong Country 2 is my favorite game, but I don't think I would want to see it remastered. Something about the sprites or the SNES audio, it's just perfect as is for me. I would think changing it would ruin it. So I entirely understand you if you don't want to see a game you like be quote-unquote upgraded, because that upgrade might be a downgrade in your opinion. This leads into my final point, which is away from the monetary intent of developers and graphical look of the games themselves, and more into our psychology as fans of games, and why we want or don't want remasters in the first place. I think a big portion of it is nostalgia. It's a word we can't get away from in the gaming community sometimes, but nostalgia is present and important to address. Our favorite games, literally whatever it may be. It could be Shrek 2 for the Game Boy Advance for all I care. Your favorite game, or a game you like a lot, is important to you as a person. You may like its story, its characters, its world, its gameplay, or its soundtrack. A lot of the things could have retro charm, and maybe you envision them in a modern light. Maybe the game isn't that old, but deserving of remaster or re-release, so you hope for it anyway, so you can experience it again, and so more people can experience it. One of the most anticipated remakes for me personally are the Pokemon Gen 4 remakes. And this is an interesting topic. Gen 4 is my favorite generation for plot, character, soundtrack, world, etc. when it comes to Pokemon. As the Pokemon Company and Game Freak have set a trend for remakes, with Fire Red Leaf Green for Gen 1, to Heart Gold Soul Silver for Gen 2, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire for Generation 3, it only seems inevitable that Generation 4 will one day get its day. This has me highly anticipating it. The games are over 12 years old, so a remake or remaster wouldn't be out of question at this time, and for a lot of people it seems likely that it will occur during Generation 8 on the Switch. Why do I want Gen 4 remakes? Well, like I said, I love the Sinnoh region and its characters in Pokemon, Team Galactic, and a lot of the music from it. Remastered music is a big appeal of remasters in general, outside of genre and console. However, I'm going to admit I don't really like Pokemon in 3D. I like the sprite era. I'll tell you right now, I'd pay $100 for a Gen 4 remastered this moment, but I'll also tell you that I never bought Oris, despite being a huge fan of Gen 3. The graphical and sprite style of Pokemon Gen 3, 4, and 5 were really good in my opinion, and maybe the height of the series. I've played Gen 6 and 7, and I did enjoy them, but was not that big on the style of the games. It's definitely worth another video discussing the difficulty level of the games themselves, which I believe brought them down. But 3D Pokemon hasn't been quote-unquote as good in my opinion, whether that matters to you or not. The ORAS remakes aren't bad, I'm not saying that. Again, I haven't played them. I love the region and the characters and the Pokemon, so I can't see it being bad at all. It's just the feeling of playing Ruby and Sapphire in 3D though, that never made me buy it. It's just a little offsetting as I feel the original games were so classic. So this concludes the discussion of whether remakes are necessary or good or bad, depending on nostalgia for old fans and new fans basically. However, ORAS in Gen 6 and Gen 7 were on a 3DS, so if Gen 4 is getting a remake, it'll be on the Switch and may look better than ever. We will have to see. If you made it this far, let me know your favorite Pokemon. Mine is Torterra. Or if you don't want people to shame you for liking Garbodor, let me know the game you want to see remastered the most. If it's Shrek 2 for the Game Boy Advance, I feel you. I had Smash gameplay up for most of this because I didn't know what else to record, and I don't really play anything else either. My brother and I did a battle arena. The first few matches as Robin and Lucas were serious, as they are kind of our mains for tournaments we think, but the Mario, Ken, and Luigi matches were all fun, just messing around. I got a Luigi montage if you want to check it out. In addition to more speculation and discussions like this, I'm planning montages for more characters as well. Robin, Lucas, Peach, Mario, and Donkey Kong to name a few. Cheers guys.